YouTube. This is Yirmiah Who Weeps. I was watching a video a little while ago. Oh my gosh, imagine that on YouTube? Watching a video? Anyways, sorry, that was really dumb. It was on praying to Jesus or not. That intrigued my interest, so I was watching that, and I thought about what the guy had to say, and he was referencing a particular verse. He was referencing John 14:14. So I looked up Yochanon, or John, 14:14, and this is what it says. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. That's according to the Net Bible. Now, when I look at that, oh shoot, I had found, oh shoot, dang it. Okay, well anyways, that wasn't quite the way it's worded in the Greek, but that's basically what it's saying. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. So the guy in the video was saying that we could pray to who is actually Yeshua, but he was calling him Jesus. And I can do, I'll do a really quick breakdown of the name Jesus. Okay, his original name was Yeshua, okay? In English letters, Y-E-H-O-S-H-U-A, Yeshua. But his nickname was Yeshua, okay? Yeshua means Yahweh is salvation, or Yahweh is rescue. But his shortened version, his nickname was Yeshua, which means salvation. But it's because the Yo, or the Yeho, which is contracted to Yo, was shortened to Yeh. Okay, it was just shortened, quick way to say his name. Now, the J sound used to be, the letter J used to be, make the Y sound. So back previous to like 400 years ago, or however long, I'm sure it's before then, but maybe even less, I'm not sure, but before 400 years ago, the J sound made a Y, the J letter made a Y sound. So it would have been Jesus or Jesus. Now when his name got translated into the Greek from the Hebrew, Greek names, from my understanding, always ended in S to denote male. To denote a male, it always ended in S. Wasn't the same in Hebrew. That wasn't the way they did it in Hebrew, but it was the way they did it in Greek. To let people, to give Yeshua, when they talked about him in Greek, to let people know that he was a male, they added an S onto the end, and plus S, like, you know, honors the whole Zeus thing, so, you know, whether or not they were doing that because of Zeus, but putting an S made it a male name. So, Yeshua, the Y sound eventually got changed to the letter J, even though it was a Y sound still, but then eventually became a J sound, so it was Jeshua. And with the S added on, it's Jeshus. But then the H became basically silent, so it was Jesus. So it's not very difficult, from my understanding, to see the breakdown, how it became from Yeshua to Jesus to Jesus. From the Hebrew to the Greek to the English. So that's where his name comes from. Anyways, he's talking and trying to figure out whether or not we can pray to him. And the verse says, if you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. Now the context is, this is the night of his last meal, and he's talking to his Talmudim. So he's talking to his followers that are with him, eating the last meal with him, and he's telling them, if you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. Well, name doesn't just denote what you call a person. The names in those days had to do with a person's character. Like Yahweh, the name of Yahweh is Yahweh's character. So if you say, I'm doing this in your name, you're doing it according to their authority and according to their character. So him saying, if you ask me anything in my name, he's basically saying, if you ask anything according to my authority, under the umbrella of my authority, and you ask it in my character. So if you were to ask him, please please help me to kill my next door neighbor, that's not according to his character, so he's not going to do it. So going on, I thought another thing that I was thinking of was how asking something in his name, well, his name is Yeshua, but his name means Yahweh is salvation. So, and he claims a number of things about himself that have to do with Yahweh. I've got 7 verses I'm going to read. Some things that he claims about himself. It says in Luke 22 verse 42, he says, Father, if you are willing. So he's talking to Yahweh. He's saying, Father, if you are willing, take this cup away from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. So he's deferring his own will to the Father's will, even at the point of excruciating death, which I thought was very interesting. Then going on in Yochanan 5 verse 30, or John 5 verse 30, he says, I can do nothing on my own initiative. So Yeshua is saying, I can do nothing on my own initiative. He's basically saying, I can do nothing on my own. I can do nothing from myself. So anything and everything that he does is actually from the Father. Because he says, I can do nothing on my own initiative. And then he says, just as I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just. I judge or I decide. Let's look at that judge. Yeah, judge or to separate, maybe? Anyways, he decides or separates, and his decision is just. His decision is upright and right, proper, because I don't seek my own will, but the will of the one who sent me. So he says he can't do anything on his own, and he says just as he hears. So he's not making the decision just on his own. He's making the decision based on what he hears from the Father. So the Father's really deciding for him and letting him know what to do. And then he's doing just what the Father tells him to do. Going on, Yochanan or John 6 verse 38. Because I have come down from the heavens not to do my own will. So he's not doing his own will, but the will of the one who sent me. And who sent him? Father Yahweh. So he didn't come to do his own will, but he came to do what the Father Yahweh wanted him to do. Yochanan or John 8 verse 28 says, Then Yeshua said, when you lift up the son of Adam, son of man, Yeshua, the son of Adam, the descendant of Adam, the promised rescuer, then you will know that I am he. And I do nothing on my own initiative. I do nothing on my own power. I do nothing from myself. But I speak just what the Father taught me. So, or in the Greek it says that, but just as the Father taught me, these things I speak. So he's speaking, the things that he speaks are just what the Father is telling him to speak. So he doesn't speak on his own. Then in Yochanan 14 or John 14 verse 31 he says, but I'm doing just what the Father commanded me, so that the world may know that I love the Father. Get up, let's go. Or get up, let's leave here. And then it says in the Greek, it says, but so that the world may know that I love the Father, and just as the Father commanded me, that's what I do. So he does what the Father commands him to do. He's doing just what the Father tells him to do. In Yochanan 12 verse 50, or John 12 verse 50, I know that his commandment, Yahweh's commandment, is eternal life, life stretching beyond the horizon. Thus the things I say, I say just as the Father has told me. So the things that he says, anything that he says because that's what the Father Yahweh has told him to say. Anything that he says, everything you hear him say, he says because that's what the Father told him to say. In Yochanan, or John 14 verse 10, it says, don't you believe that I'm in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you, I don't speak on my own. I don't speak from myself, but the Father residing in me does his mighty acts or works. So the words that he's speaking aren't from his own, aren't from himself. And the things that he does according to the Father's will. So everything that Yeshua did and said was what the Father directed him to do and say. He didn't do anything on his own. So when you ask him for something in his name, it's according to his character. And what's his character? His character is to do everything that the Father tells him to do. He doesn't do anything on his own. He only does and says what the Father tells him to do. And his name means Yahweh is rescue. And so his name is actually pointing to Yahweh. So I know that he was speaking to his Talmudim, his students. And he was saying, ask me anything in my name and I will do it. But the words that he was speaking there weren't actually from him. They were from Yahweh. So he was basically just a representative. So he may not have been talking about himself here. It may have been Yahweh speaking through him. And his character was according to Yahweh. So when he says, if you ask me anything in my name, you can basically attribute that to Yahweh because he's Yahweh's representative. And everything that he says, Yahweh tells him to do. So that's my understanding of it. Now, even though he's Yahweh's representative, you could say, yeah, but he's still saying the word, so you could be referring back to him. And I suppose there's a case you could make for that. But I think the overwhelming evidence is that it points to Yahweh. So that it's ultimately talking about Yahweh. That Yeshua is more like just a conduit. The faithful servant. The most faithful servant. But I mean, I think in everything Yeshua did and said, I think he was like an arrow pointing to Yahweh. So that's my understanding of Yochanan 14:14. So if anyone has any interesting thoughts, comments, anything that you think would help me or anyone else learn from this, that would be awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Have a very good day, night, evening, morning life. And thanks, au revoir, shalom, adios, sayonara, goodbye.